When I was 19, I already had 200K in credit cards. 24 now.
Wait, at 19?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we got some history with bands and banks.
Yeah, we both do. What are some credit hacks that are going to land some people in jail?
What they'll do is they'll go like find like a homeless guy on the street and they'll build his credit because it's real easy to do it, right?
What?
Like, it's
All right, welcome to the Digital Social Hour. I'm your host, Sean Kelly. I'm here with my co-host, Wayne Lewis.
What up, what up?
And our guest today, Reuben Deleon. How we doing?
doing good. Happy to be here.
It's good to
Doing
have a
good.
fellow credit person.
Little hot wearing this jacket in Vegas,
Look
but
at, well, I mean,
it's good in here.
what that jacket, like 7, 8K?
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah,
they're
around
that
there.
much?
What?
Did you use credit to get it?
Absolutely.
Hey,
gotta
my
get the points.
man.
Gotta get the points.
How many points do you have?
Like all combined,
Yeah.
probably like 3 million right now.
Jeez.
3 million points?
Yeah.
What does that equate to in US dollars?
Well, some of them are credit card points. Some of them are like airline miles or like hotel points. But if they're all credit card points, probably like 30, 40 grand.
30, damn,
You could
that's
travel
a
for
lot.
free for the
Yeah.
full year, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you
you wouldn't want to
wouldn't.
cash them out though.
No,
Right.
no, you want to
Yeah.
keep them
Yeah.
accumulated.
I only tell people to cash them out like if they are like on the street. Like if you need the cash,
If you need
like,
it, yeah.
but that's usually like the worst way to redeem them. Usually want to use them on travel.
So the best way to use points is on travel, usually?
For sure. I prefer to use them on flights just because you get a lot of value out of them,
Right.
right? Like you can take like a $20,000 flight for less than 200,000 points. But if you use that on hotels, you're not going to get 20,000 worth of value out of those points.
Does the airline matter?
The airline does matter, and
It
usually
does
you want to
matter.
use them for like long distances, right? Like
Okay.
you'd want to use those points on like a 16-hour flight to Dubai or like to London.
So which specific airline should they use or look to use when it comes to getting points or the best, like, you
Best
know, quality?
ratios.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It depends on like where you're going, and it constantly changes and just fluctuates all the time depending on like how busy it is. If it's like a hot time to go to that location, it might be a little bit more points. So you want to shop around to different airlines. So sometimes like what you want to do when you're looking for a flight to take or a hotel to book even, you want to see like how many points it'll cost you with the actual hotel, because you can book the hotels under the hotel points or you can book them with your actual credit card points. But the worst way to do it is when you actually use like your Amex points directly from your Amex account, because you want to actually transfer them to the partner that you're going to be flying on to the hotel you're going to be staying with. Because I've seen instances where like that $20,000 flight to Emirates is less than 200,000 points, but if you book it through your Amex account, they're going to charge you like 1 million Amex points. So you want to just transfer those points to Emirates because they're going to ask for less.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You fly almost more than anyone I know. What are your favorite airlines?
Currently, I'd say Emirates first is just hard to beat because, you know, they have the Dom Perignon that comes out. They give you caviar service, unlimited food. They have like blanket. There's a shower on the plane. You can go take a
What?
shower.
That's fire.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
so, yeah.
And where does that fly to?
I've only flown it to Dubai and back,
Okay.
but they fly pretty frequently, like all around to different places.
Wow.
But
Does it have the 180 seats?
what does
Like
mean
it
when
lies
it's
down
flat? Oh yeah,
completely
yeah,
flat?
yeah.
Dude,
The
I
first-
flew that once.
First class and business class
Yeah.
actually does it, but
That's
for
Yeah,
first
I-
class, it's just a little bit better, more privacy because you have like
Yeah.
you have the door that actually closes. Whereas in business, it's still comfortable, but you don't have as much privacy, right? Like you're sitting next to somebody. Whereas in first, if you're flying by yourself, then you can still close the door and like no one can see you.
Yeah.
Question. What are some credit hacks that are going to land some people in jail?
I mean, I've heard of hacks that people did in the past where
Yeah.
like what they'll do is they'll go like find like a homeless guy on the street and they'll
Yeah.
build his credit because it's real easy to do it, right? Like,
What?
it doesn't cost a lot of money to build the person's credit. So they go find the homeless guy. They're like, yo, I'll pay you $5 grand. They go get him like 300,000, 400,000 in loans. The dude's already homeless, right? Like they're not gonna
wait.
And then they just go grab the money out. They're
Yo,
like
Rewind,
5K.
rewind.
That's
So there's
crazy.
people out here that say finds a homeless guy, ask him what his credit, what his social security number
They
is,
won't
and
even.
build
Yeah,
that up.
they'll just ask him for a social. Be like, yo, I'll shoot you 5K.
Well, that's a hell of a hack.
If you're homeless, you're gonna take
Yeah, that
too.
is
Well,
a
I mean, I
hell
wouldn't
of a
call it a
hack.
hack. This is just straight fraud. Like, yeah, he's gonna go to jail.
Who actually? So somebody was actually giving that advice at one point. Like that
I mean,
was a
I've
thing.
never given it advice. I just heard
That's
stories. I mean,
crazy.
you can do it. It's very easy to do it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Wait, but wouldn't their credit be like 0?
they're just gonna go. But that's why they go get a homeless guy, right? Because the homeless guy doesn't even know what his credit score is.
Right.
Right?
Wow.
It's sad to say, but like people do it.
And what is like the #1 myth about credit that you like when you hear? It's like you cringe. Like that's not true.
the fact that people try to avoid it and they avoid like getting more credit cards when like you should actually try and go get more, because the more leverage you have, it's just better overall, right? Like even when I first got started in credit, when I was 19, I already had 200K in credit cards, 24
at 19?
Yeah.
Wow.
You had 200,000 in credit.
Yeah, that was mixed with like personal and business.
That's a cheat.
But
crazy.
when I first started at 18, my whole goal wasn't to get like a bunch of credit or travel or make a lot of money. I just wanted to have good credit, because growing up, it was me, my mom, and my brother. My dad died in 3rd grade, and I would see my mom struggling, like to get an apartment or a home or a car. But it wasn't because she didn't work. Like she was a dental assistant making 50K a year. Like it's pretty solid, right? And you only have 2 kids. Like we're not like comfortable, but you know we're getting by.
Yeah, right.
Like I always had like birthday presents, Christmas presents, like always ate. So
yeah, it was
I
always
wasn't
cool.
like poor. But I would see her get denied for an apartment and stuff, and I realized when I got older, it's just because she had bad credit, right? So when I was 18, I was like, I don't want to have bad credit because shitty getting like denied for a car and an apartment. So I did a lot of like research on my own from 18, and then all of that led to like just learning how to get the credit cards, how to build your business credit, how to travel, all the rewards. Like you kind of go like into this like deep, dark like hole of like it never ends. Right. So like when I was 20, I had 200K in credit, and then that's how I had the ability to invest and like buy like mentorship, buy courses, buy programs, because otherwise it's going to take me like 10, 15 years to save up 200K, right? Because I was working at like Planet Fitness, just normal jobs, making 20K a year. Probably of that, you're only able to save like $2,500 every year. Like it's going to take you really long time to save up 100K, 200K. So like the ability, like the fact that I had the ability at 19 to just go get 200K in credit from building my credit is just absurd to like even think of, right? So like instead of saving for 20 years to get that money, I built my credit for a year, 2 years. I had it accessible to me.
Wow. So you definitely invested in yourself to learn the industry and learn about credit in general.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to do a lot of different other businesses from like 17 to 20. Just everything you Google and you see like everything, like all the opportunities when you Google how to make money online, right? Like you see drop shipping, you see Amazon, you see affiliate marketing, just the general stuff, right? Like I tried all of that. None of it actually worked, but when I invested, I actually invested into he's my business partner now, Sean Sharma. He's actually a guest on the show as well. But I had invested 50K to learn from him because he was already crushing it in credit, right? Like he was doing really big things. I liked credit already, so
Wait, so you and Sean are business partners?
Yeah.
Oh, so they both fly.
Yeah.
Because he came on here, he had Dior on.
Yeah, they're both pretty fly, man.
Okay.
Can't deny that.
Right.
So. Wait, so how'd you get that first 50K to invest? Was it through credit?
It was through credit. Yeah. It was business credit. Because I had created an LLC when I was 18.
What age? At 19? Was
when
that
I
at
invested
19?
the 50K?
Yeah.
I was 19, about to turn 20.
Okay.
Wow, so that's a big investment at the time.
That's big.
Yeah, I mean, it was big, but like, I also just weighed it out. I was like, what's the actual risk, right? Like, if I don't do it, cool. He's going to go, like, keep being rich. I'm going to go keep being poor.
Right.
So, like, and I realized, like, if it doesn't work and I flunks, like, I thankfully live in the United States where you don't go to jail for your debts.
Right.
So, like, the worst case is, like, all right, great, over Chase. I'm just going to go get credit from a different bank.
Right.
So you'd have to
there's
go
no
bankrupt.
real risk.
Yeah.
Right.
How many credit cards do you have, and what's some advice for people to get 10 to 20 credit cards if they're watching this?
Yeah, I have around 30 credit cards right now.
30.
And the second question was how to get 10, 20 credit cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, so first we want to like focus on your personal profile, because a lot of people when they're looking online right now, they get thrown to like go get like business credit, right? Which is something you should do, but you should put a lot more focus into building your personal credit, because how strong your personal credit is going to justify how much the business will qualify for. Because even if the business is making $0 and you created the LLC yesterday, you can still go get 200K on that business, even if it's brand new and makes no money. But that's only if your personal credit is strong. And like by strong, what I mean is like you have 5 to 10 personal credit cards. The limits are over 5, 10K. If you have that structure already set up in your personal, then you can go get 100K, 200K in business credit on a brand new LLC because your personal is so strong.
Right.
Wow, that's insane, man.
So, how often do you actually make it a priority to educate the Hispanic community on credit and leveraging and like the financial literacy aspect of it? Like how often do you do that?
Yeah, no, absolutely, dude. I mean, I would say I post pretty frequently, like every day, like 10, 20 times a day on my story. I give out like a lot of free like education on credit just from me posting on my page, like on Instagram and YouTube and any other channel. I get people who DM me and they're like, bro, I got like 200K in credit, I got 100K in credit, and I got like, you know, this ability to invest in this deal just from the free content that I put out alone.
That's fire.
So I try to make it like a big deal because everyone's trying to figure it out, right? Like
Right,
everyone's trying to
right,
figure out
right.
like what are people doing right now that's making them so much money?
Right.
Especially now with like social media, everyone who's like 18, 19, 20, they're seeing like young guys like us like making money, doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're like watching it and it's making them frustrated because it's hard to figure it out.
Yeah,
right?
it
It's
is,
real
it
hard
is,
to figure it
for
out.
sure.
Because first, like you go out and try and do it. Maybe the first 5 times you get scammed, it doesn't work. Like, where do you go to like find the right info, right? And like most people, they're afraid of putting out the right info because they're like selling it. They want to sell their course.
Right.
They don't want to put out that information,
Right.
because like that's what you get when you buy,
Right.
right? Whereas like I'm not as like greedy like that, and I know like the more I put out, the more free value I give out, the more customers I'm gonna get.
Right.
Because if people are already getting a result from like just the free stuff I'm putting out,
Right.
they're gonna be more influenced to go out and buy like my next program or the next
Facts.
like deal.
Right.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like when I give people the free value and they get 20, 30K in credit, 100K in credit, now they have the ability to go pay me 25K for something. Right.
Yeah, I
So
love that. What are the
That's
best and worst credit cards?
I'd say the best credit cards mainly are with Chase and Amex, just because they have very good rewards. The limits go very high. And the rewards, what I mean specifically is that you can transfer them to a lot of different partners, right? Like a lot of different airlines, a lot of different hotels. You can do a lot with those points. Whereas like other credit cards like Discover, they might just be like cashback cards, right?
Right.
Whereas like clearly if you're going to spend on the credit card, you don't want to go get cash back because the value is much more if you have the ability to transfer them for hotels and flights. So any cards with Chase and Amex are great, really. For Chase, I like the Sapphire, the Freedom's good, the Ink credit cards are great.
Fire.
And they have really good sign-up bonuses too. So like you can go get the 3 Ink credit cards right now, and that's be like 300K in sign-up bonuses. That's probably like 80 to 100K in free flights just from getting
What?
3 credit
Yeah.
cards.
Holy
Right?
crap.
So like the sign-up bonuses are huge. And what you can do after that is like now you know how to go get the credit card. With those cards, you also get a bonus when you refer someone over. So like if I send you a link to apply for this card, I'm going to be rewarded 25K if you get the card and points.
Wow.
Right? So like you can continue getting more points from just sending out like the card to your friends and family to get more rewards. So,
Wow.
yeah, and then
That's
the worst
awesome.
credit cards really are just cards where you don't get like a lot of value out of them.
Like a
Mainly store
cashback.
cards and
Store
cashback cards.
Yeah.
So like people who go to Sephora or any of these stores, they get like sold on like, if you want to get 30% off today, apply for this card.
Yeah.
Whereas like their purchase is probably going to be like $100. They're going to
Right.
get $30 off.
Right.
Like if you're going to apply for any card, you may as well go apply for like a card where you're going to get 100,000 points and you're going to get 20K in value.
And what are the qualifications? So why do some people get denied for those type of cards, and why do some people get accepted?
Like the Chase and the Amex.
Yeah.
The main reason is due to lack of credit history. So like those are the best cards, but they're also going to be a little bit of the most challenging to get.
Right.
Because they know like their cards are valuable, right? Like they have high limits, you can spend on them. Whereas like other credit cards where they're trying to just get people like an approval, they're not going to have the greatest rewards.
Right.
Right. So like a lot of people, it's due to lack of credit history. It's also due to maybe utilization, because if you have one credit card that's over 30%, the bank's going to take that into account and think that you're high risk because you're already utilizing credit somewhere else.
Gotcha.
So they don't want to be like, sure, I'll give you more debt that you may not be able to pay. So you want to have utilization below 30% on each card. So that's very important. And then a lot of other like variables fall into play because every bank has a different like qualification structure, right? So you can go to a site called uscreditcardguide.com and it'll literally have all the credit cards on there and it will tell you the rules. Like it'll say like what you need to have on your personal profile to qualify for that card.
Wow.
So like some cards are like you need to have 6 months of credit history to qualify for this card. Other cards are saying you need to have a year. Some cards say you need to have 2 years, right? So it's very like important to go review that site before you apply for anything, because if you see you need to have 2 years of history and you have 2 months of history, clearly you're not going to get approved.
And how important are trade lines? And for the people that don't know, what is an actual trade line? Start there.
Yeah, so I would say from what people think a trade line is like they are viewing it as buying like an authorized user account. Right. But really a trade line is just any account that's reporting on your credit, right? So I have like 9 Chase cards that report on my personal credit. I have 9 trade lines, right? But
So
it's just any
are you
account that
making money
reports.
off of those trade lines too?
No, so I don't sell my
Oh, you don't.
spots.
Okay.
A lot of people do sell their spots because they make money, right? But if you do that too much, you can get all your accounts closed.
Wow.
So I've seen instances
I didn't
where
know
like,
that.
people have 12 Chase credit cards and they're like, cool, I'm gonna make like extra 20K because I'm gonna go sell these spots.
Yeah.
But is it really worth it to make 20K to lose 300K in available credit? Like, it's not worth it,
that's
right?
true.
So you're not allowed to sell them
I
technically.
mean, no, but Yeah, I guess
Gray area.
within limit.
It's a gray area.
Yeah,
Like you're allowed to do it, but like supposed to be for like your friends and like family, right?
yeah,
Like once they can catch on if you're selling them, because if you're selling like 5 AUs a week and then in 2 months you remove them and you sign someone else on, you sign someone else on, like you have like a limited family. Like you don't have that much family.
Right.
Is having an 800 credit score overrated?
For sure is, because I've seen people who have over an 800 and
Still
they
get
can't even
denied.
get approved for
Still
anything.
get
Because like
denied.
a few years ago, I had this one dude. He was messaging me trying to get some help. I was giving him help. He was like, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go buy these 5 AUs." I was like, "Okay, go do that, right?" And then he got above 800 and he's like flexing. He's like, "Yo, look, see, it worked. I got over 800." I was like, "Great, bro. Go try and apply for something." Still got denied.
No utilization.
Yeah. So the problem was that he had nothing else on his credit besides the authorized user accounts.
Right.
And when you only have authorized users, the bank can clearly see like you've never actually had your own personal accounts.
Yep.
You've only had these authorized users. And that used to work like early 2000s before like 2010,
Yeah.
where like you can have only AUs and the bank will still give you the credit that you're asking for. But now they're getting aware of like, all right, they're like people are just trying to finesse the banks, right? And they're able
Of
to
course.
see that now.
Yeah.
So like you can have over an 800 with all AUs, you're still gonna get not like any credit at all. And I've seen people who have like a low 700 and they go out and get 100K, 200K.
Yeah.
So in that person's so being an authorized user isn't a bad thing. So in that person's case, right, he came back with an 800. What would have been your the right recommendation to him, like in regards to how to utilize that? Although he had limited to no utilization, what would have been the right recommendation? You think? What direction?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what he should have done is should have just been patient because he had nothing on his credit, like not even like a single credit card. So when you're starting from like square one, it's just gonna take time. It's just gonna be like a patience thing. And his thing was like, well, why do I got to be patient when I can just go buy these AUs and I can get all the age myself? But he didn't understand that he actually doesn't have any of his own like age, his own personal accounts. So I was telling him, you need to kind of like take it step by step and go do like the beginner boring stuff. Like go get like the Discover card where it's easy. Go get like the Chase Freedom, because those are cards where it's very easy to enter into those products. But no one wants to do that because they're going to get a small limit, right? Because it's a brand new credit card. Right. So like they don't want to do that because they want to get the big limits quick. So he tried to just like cut the curve, but it didn't work out at all for him. So if he would have like just done the actual structure of building your personal credit for like 6 months to a year, then at that time he would have been able to get the credit that he wanted. So it was just an impatient thing.
What's the best way to build up bigger credit limits?
Yeah. So I like Discover and Amex Blue Cash and Amex Blue Plus because those cards you can routinely ask for a credit limit increase. So for Discover, it's every 6 months. And then for Amex, I believe it's like every 98 days. It's like a weird day like that.
Yeah, but everybody can't get approved for those cards.
You can, because those are very easy cards to get approved for. Like if you go on US Credit Card Guide, it'll say like you need 3 months of history. And you can easily go get that history by adding like Rental Karma or something.
And that's for the Discovery and which other one?
Amex Blue Cash and Amex Blue Plus.
Okay.
So those cards you can routinely ask for an increase and it won't affect your credit. So the benefit to that is those limits will continue to increase with you. So like you might get approved for only like 2K today, but when you ask for an increase, it might go to 6K. And then when you ask for another one, it'll go to 10K. Right. So like you want that to be the focus to increase your personal, because when you go out and you apply for business credit and you have these big limit personal cards, they're going to give you 20, 30K.
And how often can they ask for an increase? Like was it every quarter, every 6 months?
Discover, it's every 6 months. For Amex, it's like every
every
98 days. It's like a weird like time frame like that. Maybe like 91.
Yeah.
Something like that. But another big benefit too is by building a relationship with the bank and actually working with a relationship manager, because something that a relationship manager can do is they can actually like talk to the underwriter and vouch for you and say like, no, this guy needs this credit because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And if you have the relationship, he can say whatever he wants to say, right? Just to get you the approval.
Facts.
Like I had one guy who had like 90% utilization on 4 cards. And when he applied online by himself, he got denied because it's just automated system. But when I introduced him to our banker at Chase, he was able to get him like one card was 65K, another one was 75K.
Wow.
Because the relationship manager just vouched for him, right? So
that's crazy. What's the best way to deal with a collection or a late payment?
Yeah, that's a great question, because a lot of people deal with that, and it might be because they just forgot, right? They didn't make the payment. It's only like $30 for the minimum payment, and it just goes over. But one little late payment like that can drop your credit over 100 points.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then collections can do the same thing. Even if the collection's for $5,
yeah,
it doesn't matter if it's $5, $5,000, $15,000. It has the same impact on your credit.
Wow.
So if you're dealing with like a late payment, one thing you can do is you can do a goodwill letter, where you just basically are asking for goodwill. You can make up a story like you had like a health crisis, you had like some problems going on, like X, Y, and Z, right? Like whatever story you want to create, and they'll actually just reverse it. But that's only if you have like 1 or 2. If you
but once it's in collections, it's over, right? It's been sold.
That's for a late payment. But for collections, what you want to do for collections is, first, it's never like wise to even pay them because it's very likely it's incorrect. And what I mean by incorrect is when you look at your credit report, and I recommend like Identity IQ, that's kind of a good one, right? As opposed to like Credit Karma. But when you're looking at your credit report, you'll see that there's a lot of discrepancies on the actual reporting of that collection. And one of those things could be like, the collection on one bureau is saying a different date as the other 2. Just from that one mistake, legally, because of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, they have to remove that account because the Fair Credit Reporting Act basically just protects consumers from these credit agencies, credit bureaus, people who are just reporting things on your credit, because you can't just go do that, right? Like there has to be like strict laws in place.
But then it's a third party, so technically you don't owe them anything in general.
Correct. Yep. When a collection agency buys the debt, they now own that debt. Right.
So you don't owe 5-star collection any money. You owe.
And it's crazy too, because like let's say I default on like a 10K card with Chase. Chase isn't gonna call me to try and collect that. They're just gonna sell it right off in their taxes. They probably sold it to a collection agency for like fucking 4K or something.
Yeah.
Right.
You think 4K? I heard less.
10K. Well, if the collection's for 10K, I mean, it'll vary, right?
Yeah,
it won't be that cheap.
Yeah, I heard.
But like they'll sell it for like pennies on the dollar for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And then they're like calling you out. They're like, "Yo, we'll work out a deal. We'll give it to you. We'll settle on this for only like 6K, right? You're saving 4K." People are like, "Oh, great, sounds great." But when you pay it, the only thing that happens is that collection goes to a $0 collection. Now it's like still on there.
It's still on there. You got to get it removed.
Yeah, even if it's $0 or $1 or 10K.
And how long does it last if it's still on there?
It'll forever.
Oh, forever.
You have to get it removed
as a paid collection.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You gotta get it removed.
It doesn't benefit you at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't even build a relationship with the bank anymore because the bank already sold it off.
Yeah.
So
if anything, it hurts your relationship.
For sure.
But then you can also get that removed, go back to that same bank and reapply.
You could, but it'll take time because even if you remove it from your report, it's still in Chase's system, right? You don't remove it from Chase's system.
Right.
So like they still know that like you screwed them on this.
At one point you did.
Yeah. But you can settle on it with them in the future. But sometimes it just takes time to rebuild. But that's why it's also beneficial to go through a relationship manager because I had one client where he was banned from Chase like 3 years ago because he was doing some like marijuana business or something. And he couldn't get into Chase for 3 years. And I just did a simple intro. My relationship manager opened an account for him, got him a 50K credit card, and then boom, just right back.
Yeah, we got some history with bans and banks.
Yeah, we both do.
I mean, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of banks.
I think because it's crypto related.
Got you.
They don't like
crypto. For sure we'll do it.
Yeah.
Or they don't like e-commerce either. Some e-commerce companies.
PayPal hates e-commerce.
Yeah, they hate us. For sure.
Ironically. What was the best hire you made? I see you got a full-time videographer following you around everywhere.
Yeah, I would say for sure either videographer or personal assistant. Those are two very like those are two very vital tasks because the personal assistant is doing like just task where it's like no benefit for me doing that at all, right? It's like the analogy like the sand, pebble, rock like in a jar. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Basically what it means is like imagine there's like a jar, right? And you want to fit all of those like you want to fit the rock, the sand, and the pebble in there. The right way to do it is to put all the rocks in and then put the pebbles, and then the sand will go over everything. So like they're basing it as like the most important tasks that you should be doing are rock tasks. Like you should not be doing pebble or sand tasks because the jar represents your day, right? So like most people, what they're doing is they're doing a lot of sand and pebble tasks because it feels like they're getting a lot done because they're things that are like getting done, right? But the things that should be doing are the rock tasks because that's like the $500 an hour tasks, the things that are going to progress you. So like the problem is people don't outsource those tasks, and all they do is the sand and the pebble tasks, and they're busy all day, but they're not making any real progress.
Right.
So like a personal assistant, they are able to take on those tasks for you, so you can focus on only the rock tasks, right? So I say the personal assistant is very important, and obviously videographer is great because I mean I think everyone should be building their personal brand online, just because you're already doing it, right? Like you're already doing what you're doing. You might as well just like show it, because what it'll do is it'll build like rapport with your audience, and over time that rapport will equate to making money.
Gotcha.
Right. So like, and then you build partnerships because people see like I'm on this show, someone else would hit me up. They're like, yo, you did good in the show. You want to come on my show?
Right.
So this is real important to like have someone capturing the whole moment so that you can repurpose it and you can get more business.
Gotcha.
Facts. I love that. Yeah, those were my two best hires too, to be honest. Same with you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Reuben, it's been a blast, man. Any closing thoughts, words of wisdom?
Damn, man. I would say people who have bad credit, you know, they feel as if there's no hope, right? Like they feel like they're at rock bottom when their credit score is 400, 500, and they don't know how to get it back up. So the main thing you need to do is focus on reducing your utilization on your personal cards and then removing any discrepancies. So like late payments, collections, charge-offs. You can go out and try and do it on your own if you have no money, right? Just learn the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and then learn how to like use your rights to remove those negative accounts from your credit. If you can't do it, we have a credit repair company. We have close to 20,000 clients now over the past few years. So people can come to us. We can fix their credit so they can have a better future, right? Like it's really hard to live in the United States when you have bad credit.
Right.
Like you can't get in a car, you can't get an apartment, you can't go get credit or like any kind of loans to like make investments and like better yourself. So it's very important to fix your credit and build it. So that's for the person who you know, has bad credit and they feel like there's no hope. There is hope.
Right.
And then for the person who maybe doesn't want to build their credit at all, completely stop thinking that way, because that can change your life, right? Like the fact that I had 200K in credit and I was able to make an investment at 20 years old, and now I'm 24 and I've traveled all over the world. I've made millions of dollars. Like I've helped thousands of people. It was all because I had access to credit. If I didn't have access to credit, I would not have been able to make those investments.
Facts.
Right? So like opportunities are there. It's just people who don't have the money to take action on them.
Right.
Right. So that's
Love
really
that.
important.
Where can people find you?
Instagram's the main one, Reuben.Deleon.
Wayne?
Find me on Instagram at the creator.
All right.
Pop up.
It'll pop up
Sean
somewhere.
Kelly, Digital Social Hour. See you guys next week.